What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Trading Live with Bubba, Tuesday, July the 2nd. Well, I'll tell you something. It is quiet. It is hard. And that's all I can tell you. It is a very challenging market to trade right now because you're not getting any of those great big moves. There is something here potentially in the euro currency that we could look at, though, for a day trade potentially right now. Let's take a look at the short term, because certainly we don't mind looking at it if it is there, but it's been a real tough trade. So we're going to wait and watch this. If we do get in, our stop's going to be as it is right now, 107.97. If we do get a trade, we do not have it yet, but if we do get one, 107.97 will be the stop. We'll be looking to sell at 107.81 or below. But you got a lot of things going on. You got a holiday on Thursday, so no trading. You've got jobs, the ADP private sector jobs tomorrow, and you've got the non-farm on Friday. So I would not imagine that the markets will get too far away from center line. I would suspect that, as you can see them whipping around right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we close, somewhere near unchanged today, but we'll see. In the meantime, we do have a trade here in the euro currency with a 107.97 stop. I am in. Okay. So let's just see what that is. Bing. I put my stop in. Okay. So now we're sitting here watching, see if anything else develops here. I don't know if it will or it won't. I mean, look at these numbers that you're watching. You're seeing a very little bit of trade here. So it makes it, again, the lack of activity, the lack of action makes trading a hell of a lot harder. And you really can see that volume has dried up, and it's not really a shock that the volume has dried up because a lot of people are going on vacation. Okay. But in the meantime, let's take a look at our normal stuff while we're waiting to see if this trade is going to work out for us. Apple continues to push up, but if you remember last week, we took care of that overbought condition, and now we're looking to get there again. I would suspect that 220 will be some resistance, but I don't think that there's anything to really do there at the 220 level. I think you just sit and wait, because we're not going to get, unless it gets into the mid 220s, like 225, it's not going to be a probability trade. And right now, all we're looking for is high probability trades, and we're not overbought. We're just going up. So let it go up and let it continue. Amazon. This is one that you could certainly look at. Certainly I would look at selling like the 200, 202.50 or whatever it happens to be. I think that makes sense. We've had a hell of a nice rally here, but I would certainly not mind looking at a potential spot to take a little bit of a sale here. Well, actually, let's look at Chewy. Chewy is the new hot name for Roaring Kitty. With the GameStop guy, if you're familiar with that story, if you're going to play in this market, the volatility is ridiculously high. It's in the hundreds, which is virtually impossible to trade into unless you know what you're trying to do. And certainly I will give you full disclosure that I have on a trade that is, I'm short the 27.25 strangle in July 5th. And I'm long in August, the same strangle, okay? And I've already been able to roll down one side and collect, and I've already been able to roll it. So I had an $8 and change cost for this trade. My risk now is $5 with 8 weeks to go or 7 weeks to go. So again, something to look at if you want to play in that environment. Coin, kind of in the middle of nowhere. We're really, again, remember, if you look at it at all different angles, but certainly you can see we're obviously consolidating 200 to 260 with 240 looking like it's a new potential top. So there's not a lot really to do here. And I certainly don't have any big edge here. Crowd, very tight consolidation. Now I want you to remember this pattern because I'm going to show it to you in a couple other places and show you what can happen out of this pattern, which is the next one is Meta. Meta had the same pattern and then exploded out, and now it's doing it again. So we know that it's going to probably break out of here. But for our point, for a probability trade, I have nothing to trade right now. Again, remember, if there's nothing to trade, I'm not going to trade it. Okay. And let's just go back to here and make sure. So our trade that we're in is about even. There's not much going on, which does not make me happy. And I'm gonna exit this early, not yet, but I will let you know when I'm going to exit and how I'm going to exit it. And crude oil, it's a possibility of a trade, but I'm going to wait. Again, I'm not overly anxious to be making a lot of trades in here right now because there's just not a lot going on. So let's go back to Google. Google is certainly a call spread potential sale. Okay. I would certainly be looking to sell those. I think that makes sense. And, like the 185, 187.50 or something like that. And these are all for Friday. Okay. IWM, which is for today, there's nothing really to do. It's kind of mid-range in the middle of nowhere. So again, I don't have any real edge. I'd be guessing. You could look at potentially selling iron condors, but I'm not a big fan of selling straight iron condors unless I'm using it on my hedging model, or I've got a big lead on one side and I just want to try to squeeze out more profit. Moderna, very oversold. Certainly, I would be looking at selling some put spreads here. I think that's a pretty good do. Again, you've been oversold for about a week, and maybe it's going down. And remember, when you do the trade of selling premium, selling a call spread or a put spread, two things. Number one, it doesn't have to go in your favor. It just has to not go against you. So right here, if we sold, let's say the 115, 110 put spread, we just need it to hold above 115. We don't need it to go flying higher because all we're doing is playing the clock. Okay. And of course, we can keep ourselves in a position knowing that it is extremely oversold. So we would look at it. Microsoft, it's kind of settled itself out. Looks like it's going to consolidate. Not much to do. I mean, I need a little bit bigger rally up towards 460 to look at it. NVIDIA, we're coming down. But again, really, the only thing I could potentially use here is potentially support. And again, I don't see a lot. I'm not looking to be overly aggressive here. The Qs, I did sell the 484, 485 call spread this morning already for about 42 cents. So I'm risking $58 to make $42 a few times. But again, I don't think there's going to be a big breakout here. So I think this is, relatively safe. Again, but you recognize you got risk, $58 a contract. Okay. Square continues to churn, kind of getting even in this tight little range. Now notice the tighter the ranges get, the smaller the standard deviation. So you probably want to wait because this is probably going to make a bigger move one way or the other. SPY, again, same thing. Really not much to do. Okay. I did sell call spreads in here just into the little bit of a rally. I'm not as comfortable with these, but again, I don't think we're going to have a mass explosion here to the upside today. I'm not saying we won't have one soon, but I don't think it'll be today. I think that we have a very interesting, quiet market that, based on the news that's coming out, you could probably see it sit back. Tesla is exploding, and certainly this is going to be a blow off. I would certainly look to sell put spreads here. Okay. Obviously, the risk is a little bit greater because this is an animal and a wild trade, but certainly I would look at it. Okay, let's just go back here for a minute. All right, so again, I'm going to go ahead and put my stop in at break even on my euro currency because I don't want it to be, I've got a little bit of a lead. I'm going to try to let it run, but it has not reacted fast enough for me to want to stay in the trade and let it work. I don't like it when it's this quiet and this slow. So I'm going to go ahead and just put my stop in at break even and see what happens. And by the way, break even is enough to cover your commission and cost and actually be able to maybe buy a cup of coffee. Okay. Let's go back here. Wind continues to go lower. Again, the bottom line is it is very oversold, and certainly I would be looking to sell some put spreads in here. XBI in the middle of nowhere, nothing to do. Actually, I'm sorry. I want to go back here. Remember here, I showed you this pattern a couple of times, and look what happened in Tesla. Exploded to the upside. When you see the market winding tighter and tighter and staying within a very tight range, you can bet everything you got that it's going to break out. You can't bet which way it's going to break. That's the mysterious part as always. But again, this did break to the upside and did give you an actual buying opportunity to participate. Okay. So remember that when you're looking at a chart, all the nonsense indicators, everything else doesn't mean anything. This is the phases of the market, which is what we rotate on. And you can identify that. I only use the Bollinger Bands to show you when they're overbought or oversold, because I can kind of see that without them. All right. But that's one of the things you want to look at. And of course, Zoom certainly would be something that I'd be looking to sell. Call spreads in here. I don't see a lot of room to go. And that would be what I would be looking for as a case in point. Okay. And, you know, we're still in our euro currency, but it's just not moving very much. Gold is trying to rally, but is it giving us any opportunity? No. Again, remember, we need volume. Not only do we need price to move, we need volume to move. And we're really not getting much of either. So your question always is, do you really want to get involved? And I think that it's a mistake, because the slower the action is, the slower the market is, the less opportunity that you're really going to create, because you're not going to get that movement that you look for off of the market, right? Because we're looking, if we get a blow off to the downside where they just pound them on heavy volume, there's a great probability that they're going to bounce. Okay. Same thing when they go to the upside. But when they don't do it on any real volume and there's no speed to the market, then that means that you're not getting the emotional trade, which is really what we're looking for. We're trying to take advantage of the emotions of others. Okay, that is really the entire message that we're looking at here. Okay, even if the crude was a trade, yeah, it's going up a little bit. But again, we want the reaction. We want to create the V-shaped pattern. Okay, or the upside down V, and we want it to happen much faster. And if everything is correct and the trade is right and the market is right, then those will happen much faster. Okay, I mean, we're in this trade now almost 10 minutes. Okay, well, we got a profit, but again, we should have a big profit and already have a bigger profit locked in versus sitting here watching the paint dry. Okay. And that's always something that we have to discern when we're looking at these markets. And of course, after this, I will be heading out, because again, I'm not going to sit here and stare at this ridiculous market right now. There's just not much to do. And again, I think people put themselves in bigger risk trying to trade when there isn't really much to trade. Okay. So now you got about 4 or 5 ticks profit in your euro currency. I'd lock in 2 ticks right now and kind of walk the stop down. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. Because again, I want to keep trying to take some of the money out of the market. All right. And again, is there anything else developing? Not really. See, if this was much heavier volume, I'd be more aggressive on the exit, but it isn't. So it's just going down. Okay. Notice the volume is dried up everywhere in all of the markets, which is not a surprise, which we said earlier, it's a holiday. I'm sure a lot of people have already left for the week. Okay. You know, this is not like the old floor days when you had to be there at the floor, okay, and have action. Now with people electronically, they can only do something if they want. They can trade right off their phone. So it does change the overall way that we appear to watch things. And I think it's important for you to understand that, again, right now, I think the best trades are looking for opportunity here. And I'm just going to take a look at Zoom as long as I'm with you. And we've got a trade on and it's a winner. Let's just see if there's anything to do with Zoom. Try to see if there's anything worthwhile here. Okay. So Zoom for Friday, let's see, we're at 58. So, and there is the volatility, the premium is so light in Zoom that I can't even make the trade. Even if I wanted to sell the 59.60 call spread, or I mean, I can only get 28 cents for the 59. I'm not selling that. I'm not taking that kind of small money okay, to take risk for 3 days. To me, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm gonna let it go. Again, remember, if the trade isn't there and you're not getting the premium you want, then don't make the trade. The markets are open 241 days a year. You'll get plenty of opportunities to trade. Okay, and I assure you, okay, that you'll get the opportunity. But if you but if you do things that are out of character, okay, and that don't fit in the market, I think you're making, again, a bigger mistake. And I think that's something that you have to remember all the time. Okay, is, again, are you in a high position of probability, or are you just jerking around? Okay, so you got stopped out of your euro currency. Okay, so you made, again, depending on which contract you're trading, you made anywhere from $10 to $30 or whatever it is. Again, listen, we're not going to get rich on those trades, but if we learn to continue to make them, we can make them all the time. Okay, and let's just see if there's anything else worth looking at right now, which I doubt, but you never know. The one thing we know, markets don't make announcements of when they're going to make that next big move, so we have to be prepared to trade them. But again, there is very little going on. The action is very light and very, very passive. So again, should you be the one to be aggressive during this type of market? I think if you are, you're making a mistake. You can certainly look for, big moves. Again, I think the best play on the board is probably selling spreads in Tesla. Okay. Just because of the blow up, not because, again, I don't have anything. I don't have an opinion. I own Tesla in my retirement account. So again, it's not that I'm negative Tesla, but I think the probability says that I should probably be selling some call spreads. So let me just see what it looks like. Not quite enough premium for what I'd like to get. But if it continues to rally, I would look at it later. I'm not really anxious to jump aboard right in here. Again, I want to get, if I'm going to sell a $5 wide spread, I want to get about $2. And right now I can only get about $1.04. And I'm not going to give up that kind of edge into this market. Now, again, the volatility warrants that there isn't much going on. So I can't argue with that. But overall, I don't have to trade. That's the beauty of what we do. We don't have to do anything. Okay. And again, when you learn that a decision to not make a trade is just like making a trade, you'll probably be a lot happier overall, because you'll miss a lot of those dog trades that we've all taken in the past, thinking that we knew more or were smarter than the overall market. And I think that's something that is important for you to understand, that you must keep yourself in line. Okay. This is always something that, again, that we're watching. And of course, as we look here, it's a shame we did get stopped out, but you know what? It's not a shame, because again, when you learn to take your risk off the table and you learn to take the profit, you put yourself in a better position as well. And I think, again, that is something that we need to look at and be prepared for at all times. And, again, as we get ready to sum it up, remember, there is no trading on Thursday, so I won't see it till next Tuesday, other than the daily Market 120, which I do every morning early, which is a little summation of the market. And everybody have a great 4th. Enjoy the holiday. To all the service people, thank you so much. And we'll see you back here next Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to take some time to read the disclaimer. Thank you.